Welcome to Family Gamer TV. Now, we've been looking at Lego City Undercover over the weekend. Now, this is the latest of a string of Lego games from TT Games that combine sort of action, adventure, exploration. Now, usually these are based around a particular franchise, a film like Batman, Lord of the Rings. But Lego City Undercover, which is exclusive on the Wii U and upcoming on the 3DS, is just focusing on the Lego games themselves. Now, this gives the game quite a different feel, and I think for families, actually, it makes it that much more engaging, that much more sort of exploratory, so you can really just focus on the playfulness of the world. So without that sort of franchise story leading it forward, you see sort of TT Games let loose some of their own creativity and the characters of this sort of cops and robbers story in a sort of a Grand Theft Auto style experience, but of course in Lego style. I think TT Games have done a really good job here. Now, there's a nice little crossover with the real-world Lego playsets. Now, we've had quite a collection of these and have slowly built up a variety of Lego City elements, whether that's police, ambulance, or sort of city civic services like mending the roads. And this sort of develops in their bedrooms. And these kits seem to outlast some of the more novel, like Lord of the Rings or Batman kits that obviously relate to those games. Now, for Lego City Undercover, there's a special Lego kit you can get that has the characters from the game, but also has a code in it that then unlocks new missions and new vehicles in the game. So I think, again, that's a really nice touch, that there's that crossover between the sort of physical play and virtual play. And already my kids have been sort of replaying some of the scenarios from the Lego City Undercover game with their Lego kits on the bedroom floor. And it's really nice to see that crossover, you know, not a million miles from what we've seen them doing with Skylanders. And in particular, I like the way that without that sort of movie franchise there, the game tends away from sort of the violence and fisticuffs that you normally have in those Lego experiences, and sort of matches that sort of non-violent approach that Lego was originally quite famous for. So in the game, you play a particular police character, and you have to sort of run down various criminals, but rather than attack them or shoot them, you essentially get as close as you can to them and then click the handcuffs on, and they're then restrained in a police cell.
Stop, or I will keep running after you. You want me to slow down to make this fairer?
As you play, you unlock different disguises, and those disguises let you do different things in the game, and it slowly unfolds a sort of a plot in the city, which leads to various other locations that you go off to. So in some ways, this is a little bit like a hub world that we saw in the Batman 2 Lego game. But in Lego City Undercover, it's so expansive, and there's so much to do there in the central city, that it seems a bit sort of mean to call it just a hub world. So it really is this open world Lego experience we were hoping for. Now, my kids have actually had just as much fun just exploring the world, building and destroying various elements, as they have actually in terms of pursuing the storyline. And they'll just sort of take turns sort of flagging down traffic and say, "Oh, police business, we need to take your car," and then driving around the city. And that steering, I think some may criticise for it being a bit twitchy, but actually the different vehicles each have different qualities. So motorbikes and cars and trucks all steer differently. And a favourite thing my kids have been doing is to find the biggest vehicle possible. Now, sometimes that's an Arctic truck with a massive sort of trailer, and then charge around the city. Now, the bigger vehicles have more momentum, and so they can sort of bash the other cars out of the way, then go flying. And so it's little things like that, which seem like sort of minor touches, but actually make a big difference to the game. Another element in this sort of area is the comedy. So along with the storytelling, there are various sort of cutscenes and in-game dialogue that actually is quite funny, and had both the kids and us grown-ups really sort of laughing along as we were watching the stories unfold.
Hi there, I'm Chase.
Yeah, it's the guy you told me about. Chase McCabe!
Who's that? Oh, I was just resting my eyes and my arms and my legs.
I think it's that sort of two-tier element that really makes this game really well suited for families, so that it's not just going to engage the children in the room, but we found adults, grandparents, everybody in that space was actually interested in what was going on and actually finding it quite an entertaining experience. Now, the game is controlled with the Wii U controller, but rather than tilting, you use sticks, because on the screen of that controller, it acts as a sort of a map where you get told your missions, and you can find out where to go next. You can set waypoints by touching it, so that works really nicely. I think I would have maybe liked it to have a bit of the steering, because that's the natural thing to pick up a controller, and our youngest found the stick steering a little bit harder because he's only 5, but he soon got to grips with it. Then at particular points in the game, any point in the game, you can pick up that Wii U control pad and put it in front of you and look around the room, and it really extends the sort of Lego world into the space where you're stood, and by moving it around you can look around the game world to spot particular special bricks that you need to go and collect, or particular characters you want to find. Now, of course, this being a Lego game, there are plenty of those special studs, special red bricks, but now we have these new super bricks, which correspond to the Lego super builds. Now, a super build is in this sort of hub world. You can create really big buildings. So to do that, you have to collect a large number of Lego bricks, get the appropriate super build block, and then you have this great experience where the massive building or ship or whatever comes down, sort of lands in the world, and the kids really enjoyed working towards that and then going and buying those particular buildings. And there's a sense that you're sort of expanding the city. It's becoming a more interesting place as you go. Now, the city has all sorts of ways of getting around. You can walk, and obviously that's relatively slow. You can climb the buildings, you can explore around very, very different areas. You can grab cars, as I've said, motorbikes, but it also has a sort of tram system which you can jump on. And again, the kids really like that. A little bit like Go Vacation, where you can sort of ride horses or get on a bus or get on a tram. They actually spent a long time just touring the city on these various different modes of transport. So I think although some people might compare this to Grand Theft Auto and by those sorts of standards and say actually there's not that many building interiors or there's not that many side quests in the main world, actually I think it's the light touch and the flexibility of the Lego City central area that makes it so much fun for kids. And I think it would have been easy to overcomplicate that space and make it not as accessible. So I think TT Games have made some intelligent design choices, particularly for families in that space. And I think it really stands out as a real sort of system seller for the Wii U, because that's the point. This is a Lego game that's only available on the Wii U and has the follow-up related game on the 3DS. I think one downside is that it's only one player, and I would have quite liked to see a split screen as we're used to in those Lego games. Now, perhaps, and fingers crossed here, the 3DS version will add in some multiplayer elements, whether that's just a crossover, or maybe like Monster Hunter, that players can play simultaneously on both games. We'll have to sort of wait and see for that. But even as a family that has already enjoyed most of the Lego games, has played through them all on both portable and consoles, Lego City Undercover stands out substantially, and I think there's a variety of different reasons that makes this a really ideal game for families and for family gamers. Now, I suspect that hardcore reviews may well mark it down for some of the points I've said, but really this is one of the best games for families I've seen in recent years. That's all we've got time for this week on Family Gamer TV, but we'll be back with more soon.